What would you do if someone offered your country millions of dollars with no conditions? Now imagine you are the president of a poor African country, and you say no, not because you don't need the money, but because you want to build hospitals and schools instead of mosques. This is the story of President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, a leader who puts his people first. One day, he received a letter from the King of Qatar praising him for his honest leadership and offering interest-free financial help to improve the country's economy and infrastructure. But the offer included building 200 mosques, and Ibrahim surprised many by asking if they could instead build hospitals and schools. He knew that while religion is important, saving lives and educating children were even more urgent for his people. He was careful not to fall into the trap of depending on foreign aid with hidden strings attached. So he traveled to Qatar not just to accept money, but to negotiate for a better future. His decision showed true leadership, choosing long-term progress over easy gifts, and sent a powerful message that Burkina Faso wants respect and real help, not just charity. Ibrahim Traoré's courage reminds us that sometimes, saying no to free money can be the strongest way to say yes to your people's future. But a question stayed in Ibrahim's mind. Would the King of Qatar really offer help without expecting something in return? What would they want in exchange? The days before his trip were full of nerves and hope as Ibrahim prepared for what might be the most important moment of his presidency. On the flight to Qatar, he felt the weight of the future on his shoulders. Qatar was a small but very rich country that had grown fast, and they were offering a chance like no other to Burkina Faso. When Ibrahim arrived in Doha, he saw the city's wealth, the tall buildings, wide roads, and shining towers, but he reminded himself that he was there not for luxury, but for his people's future. At the royal palace, King Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani welcomed him warmly and with respect. The king's kindness felt real, and after some friendly talk, they prepared to discuss the important business ahead. The king began warmly, "You have done amazing work for your people, President Traoré. I have been watching your leadership closely. You don't give in to foreign pressure, which is very rare today. I want to help you in Burkina Faso. Together, we can build a better future." Ibrahim listened carefully as the king explained his offer: financial support to develop the country's economy, build infrastructure, and back projects that would help Burkina Faso grow. Most importantly, the money would come with no interest and no hidden conditions. "You can use the money as you see fit. I trust your judgment," the king said. But then, he added, he wanted to help build 3,000 mosques across the country to strengthen the people's spiritual lives. Ibrahim paused. While the idea of building mosques was good, he felt the people needed more practical help: hospitals, schools, and universities that would truly change lives. He had seen his people suffer for years without basic services. So carefully he said, "Thank you, Your Majesty, for your generous offer. But my people need hospitals, schools, and universities. These will bring long-term benefits. They need health care, not just places to pray. Education, not only places of worship. While faith is important, we can pray anywhere." There was silence as the king thought about Ibrahim's words. He wasn't used to leaders speaking like this. Most would accept his offer without question. Finally, the king spoke again, his voice calm and thoughtful. When Ibrahim Traoré returned to Ouagadougou, the excitement among the people was clear. News spread fast that the King of Qatar had agreed to support Burkina Faso's development in education, healthcare, and infrastructure. People saw this as proof that their president was truly fighting for their future, and Ibrahim was welcomed with cheers and celebrations. It felt like a victory, a hopeful promise for a better tomorrow. But as weeks went by, the challenges became real. There were government delays, political opposition, and logistical problems that threatened to slow down progress. Ibrahim had worked hard to get this chance, but he knew using the money well wouldn't be easy. His first step was to meet with the ministers of health, education, and infrastructure. They already had plans for new hospitals, schools, and universities, but the question was how to make these plans happen quickly and without corruption. Ibrahim was clear from the start. This wasn't just about getting help. It was about making sure the people truly benefited and every penny was used carefully. In a meeting with the Minister of Health, Ibrahim asked, "How soon can we start building hospitals?" The minister looked uneasy. "The money is there, but planning and approvals will take time. We also need reliable contractors." Ibrahim understood the difficulty, but refused to let bureaucracy slow things down. "We can't wait. The people need healthcare now, not years from now. We'll start small and build fast. Mobile clinics, emergency centers, anything to help immediately." The minister looked surprised, but respected Ibrahim's determination. "Sir, we must follow the proper steps," Ibrahim replied. "Sometimes the proper steps don't serve the people. We'll find a way to work within the system but move quickly." There were whispers that the country's fast development might cause problems no one expected. Ibrahim knew some of his choices weren't popular, but he believed they were needed for the future of his people. One afternoon, in his office, he sat down with General Kabor, his trusted military leader and ally since the revolution that brought Ibrahim to power. The general spoke carefully. "President Traoré, the people are starting to feel pressure. The economy is still healing. And even though schools and clinics are being built, some wonder if we are moving too fast. Burkina Faso showed great potential. The first new hospital opened in a rural area that hadn't had proper medical care for decades. Children who had never been to school before were now learning in classrooms with textbooks, computers, and trained teachers. The country was moving forward, but the fast changes came with sacrifices. Not everyone was happy with how quickly things were happening, and many struggled to keep up with the rapid growth. Things became more tense when Ibrahim heard about growing unrest in Ouagadougou. The opposition had started protests, some peaceful, others not, driven by frustration over ongoing economic hardships. Ibrahim knew these protests could get out of hand if not managed carefully. One evening, while reviewing reports, General Kabor came in looking worried. "President Traoré, the situation is getting worse. There are protests in the capital and several big towns. Some soldiers report that some protesters are even calling for your resignation. The unrest is growing, and there are rumors that foreign powers are behind some of this." Ibrahim leaned back, his expression unreadable. He expected pressure, but the strength of the opposition shocked him. Ibrahim reminded everyone, "Change takes time. We are planting seeds now that will grow into something much bigger than we can imagine. The hospitals, schools, and universities are more than buildings. They are the foundation of our future." As he finished his speech, he knew the next days would be very important. People were listening, but it was unclear if they would keep faith in his message. Though some opposed his firm decisions, Ibrahim believed the future of Burkina Faso and Africa was worth the struggle. The protests continued but slowly changed. The younger generation, who once wanted him to resign, began to support his vision. They started to understand that real change doesn't happen overnight. Gradually, the unrest calmed, and the country began to stabilize. Ibrahim's determination stopped Burkina Faso from falling into chaos. The road to independence was still tough, but he had taken the first step to lead his people forward. In the months that followed, building projects went on, and no hardships remained. People started to see the future taking shape. Ibrahim's choice to stick to his values, even with opposition, showed that Burkina Faso could rise even in hard times. His story was no longer just about one leader. It was about a nation united in its fight for independence and dignity. As Burkina Faso slowly healed and rebuilt, Ibrahim knew the work was far from done, but for the first time in a long while, he believed they were on the right path.